Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Bill and Frantz Show. We have Bryan Edwards on the show today. This is our man who we go to for information around the world.
So, Bryan, there's an election. The Missouri state elections are coming on Tuesday. And there's a couple amendments. I know Amendment 1 is the right to farm.
The right to farm.
The right to farm. Boy, that sounds like we need to pass it, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, anything that says right to is bound to be something really good.
Let me tell you a little bit about the right to farm. It's a ballot measure for changing or adding to our Constitution. So it would be an amendment, a constitutional amendment that would read like this if we passed it. And it would be in Section 35 of Article 1. I don't know if that means anything to you, but I think you need to hear at least some of the language.
Doesn't mean much to me, by the way.
Well, here it goes. Section
Okay.
35. That agriculture, which provides food, energy, health benefits, and security, is the foundation and stabilizing force of Missouri's economy. To protect this vital sector of Missouri's economy, the right of farmers and ranchers to engage in farming and ranching practices shall be forever guaranteed in this state, subject to duly authorized powers, if any, conferred by Article 6 of the Constitution of Missouri.
All right. So, Frantz,
Boy.
what does that mean?
Boy, that's...
I guess you know what it means is what the hell? It's like, why do we even have this as a bill? Why do we have to vote on this? This should just be our right.
Here's the answer. No.
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 En español?
No. Nunca nadie ningún ni siquiera nada. Nothing, man. No. There is no reason to vote yes for this. Vote no. What's the reason? That language means nothing. It's language that is so ambiguous and so broad that it means nothing. And if it means nothing in going into Section 1 or Section 30 of Article 1 of the Constitution, however, it will be essentially determined what it means through Section 6, which are the powers that the state of Missouri grant local governments. That means that anytime any person who engages in farming has some sort of an argument about something that he was told not to do, or sued for civilly by a private aggrieved party, or that a government said you can't do that because it's becoming a problem for the value of the rest of the city, or the county, or the water, or animals. Everything's going to be determined what it means through the courts. So we're going to have Article 6 being interpreted by judges for this very vague, meaningless language. Now, there are plenty of statutes that are on the Missouri revised statutes on the books right now that basically protect farmers. If they're doing regularly, agreed upon reasonable farming practices, if they've got some extra dust or something sprays over to another person's property, or there's some noise or some smells, if it is reasonable farming practices, they're protected in the state of Missouri. What does this mean?
Would it change anything, actually?
It's changing a lot of things.
Well, what?
If it passes.
I think
What does it actually change?
I think what it would actually change is how the courts would deal with large corporate farmers. That is to say, if large, well-financed corporate farms said, hey, now we want to start practicing our farming, our agriculture, our ranching this way. We weren't permitted to before. In fact, no reasonable person would want us to do this. But boy, would it be more profitable. Let's see if we can grab Article 6 and have it interpret Section 30 of Article 1, that ambiguous piece of long sentence that I just read, and make it work out to our financial benefit. What it basically does is leave a huge loophole for future lawsuits to interpret what farmers can do. So they can go further and further and further on pressing environmental, animal treatment, the quality of your actual product, produce, meat in the grocery store, how they even treat the animals. Most people don't even care. There's still plenty of people who are eating at KFC.
Is this about just regulating farming, or is this about controlling farming?
Well, that's an interesting discussion into itself semantically.
Well, I guess it would. I guess it would depend if you think that a broad language amendment like that would be interpreted by judges who are appointed by politicians who get their election campaign money through large corporations, who do you think which side they're going to come down on?
Anytime there's right to fill in the blank, whatever that blank is, it's probably going to be screwed by. It's probably in the favor of the corporations, right? Right to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if, but it's just like anytime there's a right to something, it usually
It's
removes rights of the individual.
That's right. It's trickery. It's like the Patriot Act. Of course, we have to vote for the Patriot Act. We're patriots, aren't we?
Right.
Oh, yeah. What's his
At
name?
least we used
George
to be.
Orwell. George Orwell's here. He's knocking on the door right now.
Well, with my understanding of this amendment, I'm with Bryan. Vote hell no.
All right, that's Amendment 1. Let's take a break.
This is called the idiot list. It's about being an idiot. I was staring at your butt and I was drooling like a dog. You were ashing at that Pepsi can of butts that you just smoked. Or you were laughing like a jackal. I was giving up all hope that I could be your anything but the butt of all your jokes. Well, you said that you like to chew the fat and spend your time alone. So how come all the fellows try to chew you like a bone? Bit off more than you could chew. I heard you bit that curb of stone. You're chewing just like chewing's what your life's depending on. And you're no fool, no nut to crack. Oh, when you play it dumb, I can tell it is an act. And I, for an eye, was fair is fair. Oh, but I am much too dumb to care. Well, you severed our connection, turned me loose and cut me off. You said we was a waste of time, settled out and cut your losses. You thought that I like to play the victim, martyr on the cross. I don't learn my lesson is the only lesson I've been taught. You sucked my breath away each time you looked into my eyes. And it sucked the way you spent your nights with the other guys. And it didn't take too long, I wasn't taken by surprise. I suck bottle after bottle down and I hang my head and cry. And you're no fool, no nut to crack. When you play it dumb, I can tell it is an act. And for that I was fair is fair. Oh, but I am much too dumb to care.
All right, welcome back. We still got Bryan Edwards here. Frantz.
Yo, Bryan. Now, like I said earlier today in the show, that Bryan is our information man. Give us some more information, bruh.
I mean, I try to bring the information, and sometimes I don't know anything. But I do know something. The newspapers and the TVs and the internets, all of them, and the radios, they're all telling me that we're going to have an Amendment 7 in the state of Missouri to change the Constitution. It had something to do with funding of transportation, basically roads and bridges.
Oh my goodness. Tell us about this Amendment 7.
I think it's supposed to raise about $500 million to fix our crumbling roads and bridges. Now there's a need. Have you been on the interstates or the roads or the county
Yes.
highways in the state of Missouri? You think we need to fix some roads and bridges?
Yes, sometimes I think I'm on the highway and I think I'm in the desert. So I definitely agree.
Okay, so we have, if we build something and it must continue to be used, we have an ethical or a moral obligation to maintain it?
Right.
Okay. So Amendment 7 is supposed to get us $500 million, I believe, over the course of 10 years. Then it sunsets. Then it's over. Then it's done. I think the problem is it's the funding isn't coming from the people who are using the roads. That is to say, it's not coming through adding taxes to gasoline. Oh, I go to the gas pump. I pump up my car. I'm full. I paid an extra 2 cents.
That's a very logical way to get some money for transportation bill.
Yeah. Or, and I'm against this, but it at least makes sense. Tolls. Okay, it's a use tax. You use it, you pay for it.
Right.
But this funding mechanism, because the actual amendment says shall not be funded by taxes on fuel, that's what the amendment says, the proposed amendment, it will be funded through things like sales tax, but not on food or clothes, but everything else. And it will disproportionately hit people who make less money. That is to say, people who make $15,000 or less will have much more of their disposable income and their necessarily expenditures eaten into. Whereas wealthy people will almost not be touched by this because they're going to still be able to get all of their food, all of their rent, and all of their electricity. So
This is the classic argument against sales tax that we deal with all the time.
That's right. So the problem is the people who will be using the roads the most, that is the people who pump up their gas the most, will not be paying the most. It will be people who are buying anything else except for food and clothing. So I'm still saying we need the fix to the roads. It's not a good mechanism. It's not a good taxing regime. Mm-hmm. It disproportionately falls on the poor. But we've got to get these roads fixed, and this is the only way to do it. I mean, otherwise we're going to continue to fall behind in national transportation quality.
And there's no other way to do it because everyone blocks the other ways. It's not like there's actually no other ways to get the funding. It's just there's refusal to do so.
That's correct.
Great idea, but a terrible way to fund it. So I don't know, man. That's like a slap in my face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm acquiescing to something that I have a bad taste in my mouth for. But we've got to get something done with transportation. However, we may force the issue. If it gets voted down, perhaps the people who are trying to implement this regressive tax will have to actually do something that works next year. Can you imagine that? The right-wingers do something that would work? Oh, yeah.
Well, I have to have a very, very strong imagination to imagine something like that.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Fairy tales and invisible friends and flying horses.
If we're going there, I want a mermaid. I like a mermaid. I like ladies. I've never been with a merfish.
No.
So,
There's only one problem. There's only one problem with a mermaid.
Yeah, I can think of a couple problems.
Yeah. There's more than one problem.
Wow.
But there's one main problem.
I want to ask about this whole main problem thing, but
So I say vote yes on Amendment 7. Let's fund the transportation. But if you vote no, I don't blame you.
That would be me, voting no.
Okay. And you? Are you on the fence?
me, I want the bridges and roads fixed, man. But I don't want us to pay for it. I mean,
Well,
Frantz is on the razor's edge right now.
right now.
anybody who doesn't vote, shut up. We don't want to hear it. You don't have a say.
Right.
That's right.
Is that the show, fellas?
I think that might be the show.
That's a heck of a show. That's
Yeah,
substance today. We're talking about things that actually matter. Hopefully nobody fell asleep, because
Yeah.
when it comes to things that matter, you should never fall asleep.
Hey, y'all, that was Bryan Edwards, always informing us, always keeping us aware of what the hell is going on. That's the Bill and Frantz Show. God bless, and good night.